What's up, guys? It's Dan from Coin Bureau Trading, back at it again with another crypto market update. Today we've got XRP, Stellar, and Hedera. I'm sure you're all wondering what these cryptos are up to. Why are they pumping? How high are they going to go? If this is the kind of content that you enjoy, then be sure to smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, ping that notification bell so you don't miss all these updates. With that being said, guys, do keep in mind that nothing in this video is financial advice. It's just my personal analysis of these altcoins. Your analysis might be different, and honestly, guys, if it is, that's awesome, because as I love to say, the more difference of opinion we have, the better traders, the better investors we're all going to become. So with that being said, guys, let's get started here with XRP. Of course, the main reason why XRP has been pumping is because Donald Trump is going to be getting into office on Monday. That's going to be a huge, tailwind. It's going to be super bullish for US-based cryptos such as XRP. Of course, Ripple also has some community day upcoming here on January 28th, which is really interesting to me. I suspect that if there's going to be any big announcements, it wouldn't surprise me at all if these announcements are made during this community day event that's coming up, and it's going to be on X Spaces. Again, that's January 28th. So I could see a scenario where, like XRP maybe rallies into the inauguration on Monday. Trump, is formally elected or sworn in or whatever the technical term is there. And then we see XRP break above, and then potentially the all-time high starts coming out when there's announcements coming, on that community day event. And I actually will be showing you guys that I do think that the all-time high could be coming here sooner than later for XRP, and I'll explain exactly why that is. But first of all, guys, let's take a look at our chart here, just the super standard, super simple target math that we're always doing here. Again, the way that it works is we just look at the most recent price action. We're on the daily chart here, guys, by the way, always on the daily chart. So we just look at this most recent price action. We say, okay, where did this price action start? I would say it quite clearly started somewhere around $1.5. You could make the case that it started a little bit lower, maybe somewhere around $1.10 or something like that. But I like to keep my my estimates conservative, so then that way when price is surprised to the upside, then it's it's a nice surprise. Let's say. Anyways, guys, the starting point of this most recent move somewhere around $1.5. Resistance, we have it somewhere around $2.5, and of course the difference between those two levels is around $1. So all we have to do is take the difference there and we add it to the resistance, and that gives us a target of $3.5. And as you guys can see, XRP is currently breaking out above this level, and yeah, so if you're going long, then you're probably in profit here, and I do expect this $3.5 target to be hit, and I actually think that XRP could surpass that target, and I actually think that it's possible that this could happen here in the next week. And again, we're on the daily chart here, guys, and if I just look at this chart, and if we look at the timeline here, and we remember this January 28th event that's coming up for this X Spaces for the XRP ecosystem, we can see that it lines up quite nicely with potentially where XRP could hit this top somewhere around $3.5 there. And again, this would probably be a local top, but I do think it's possible that at that stage we would be getting very close to the cycle top for this cycle for XRP, and I'll explain why, guys. So if we look at XRP here on CoinMarketCap, you might notice the chart looks a little bit different here. First of all, we're on a much longer time frame, but we're also looking at XRP through the lens of market cap. And what's really interesting, guys, is that if we were to do technical analysis on XRP's market cap, whether it's in the long term or even just here in the short term, looking at the shorter term price action we've seen since November, you can see that if you were, it basically looks like a bull flag. And if we do the same kind of target math that we're doing, in basically on the regular charts there, the target here would be a market cap of somewhere around 230 billion, which would translate, I think it's like a 1.4x or something from XRP's current price, which if you do the math would be somewhere around $4. That would make sense. It's kind of like a key psychological level. I do think it's possible that XRP will go a little bit higher, maybe to like $4.5, maybe even $5. But once we're approaching that $4 level, I do think we're going to be getting very close to the cycle top for this cycle. And again, it doesn't mean that XRP is going to go down and then it's all over after that. But just for this cycle, it's probably going to be the top. It'll probably come back down, maybe even to the levels that it's at roughly now, especially if the changes to regulations in the US are permanent. I do think that XRP is going to be doing really well long term. But if we're just talking over the next few months here, guys, I do think as we approach that $4 level, and especially if you've someone who's been holding for a long time, accumulating, let's say, I don't know, let's look at the price. Like if you've been accumulating somewhere around like 40 cents, let's say, over the last while, and you're up 10x, not financial advice, but I would consider taking some off the table as we approach that $4 level. That's what I would do personally if I hold XRP. If I held XRP, I don't hold XRP. That doesn't mean I hate XRP. It's just, again, like when it comes to my personal investment strategy, I'm looking more for cryptos that have a lot of upside in percentage terms. And I'm not trying to go along with leverage and stuff like that. And so I tend to focus more on like small caps and mid caps. And I actually do hold a few from the XRP ecosystem. So my way of kind of playing XRP is not to invest in XRP directly, but these altcoins, which could see bigger gains in percentage terms as that capital starts to rotate out of XRP and into these altcoins. So, I'm not like a hater here or anything. I just have a different strategy to maximize my gains. And those of you who are part of the Coin Bureau Club will know which XRP altcoins I'm holding, but we'll come back to that at the end of the video. Anyways, guys, as you might have noticed there, we were using Binance. Of course, we have a trading fee discount of up to 20% there. And we also have trading fee discounts on OKX and KuCoin if you prefer to use those exchanges. And of course, we still have that up to $60,000 in rewards for the sign-up bonus on Bybit. And as I've been saying, guys, these trading fee discounts will help you out a lot. Even if you're just trading with a few hundred or a few $1,000s, the trading fees do add up. So getting these discounts will really help you out. It'll save, $5 here, $10. Again, it depends on your trading volume, obviously, but you'd be surprised at how much money you'll save from these trading fee discounts. I'm speaking from experience. These deals don't cost you a single thing. Like you just click that sign up now button, and it gives you the discount. The exchange gets a new user, you get a discount, and we get a cut of your trading fees. That's how the Coin Bureau makes money. We're not paid to shill. We're not paid by any projects. We make our money through these commissions from these exchanges and also from the crypto wallets that we're partnered with. And of course, if you are holding XRP, be sure you are holding it in some cold wallet here, some kind of hardware wallet. And again, we do have deals for those in the description. Anyways, guys, moving now over to Stellar. This is where things also get really interesting. As you guys might remember, I do think that Stellar is going to be getting into payments in a big way. They seem to have a very close relationship with USDC. You can see here that there was a recent announcement put out by Stellar, and they were basically asking people who are working for Stellar what they're excited for in 2025. And you can see that the main things they highlighted here are stablecoins, deregulation, crypto payments on Amazon. There's a little bit of a hint, guys. I think that we're going to see quite a bit of traction for Stellar when it comes to payments. I do think we're going to see the same thing with XRP, but it's probably going to be more focused around the stablecoin, to be honest. And I think honestly, Ripple is taking a good strategy there, where they launch their own stablecoin. Of course, Stellar is using USDC from Circle, but it would have been more beneficial if Stellar had launched their own stablecoin the same way that Ripple did. But of course, we're not going to get into comparisons there, guys. Not trying to start any fights in the comments. But the fact of the matter, though, is, guys, that I do actually think that XLM has more upside potential in percentage terms than XRP does, at least at this stage. And that's just simply because XLM seems to be lagging XRP, and this makes sense considering both crypto projects have a shared history and all this type of stuff. But if we look at the chart, you can see it actually looks very similar to the XRP charts. It's almost the identical pattern, except that XLM hasn't broken out yet. And the fact that XRP is breaking out tells me that XLM is probably going to follow suit soon. So if you feel like you missed the train on XRP and you were, especially for someone who's trading and you already see it's going above this resistance level and you're thinking, oh man, like I don't want to start going long, like already I feel like I already missed some of the move, then XLM is probably the place to look. But again, do keep in mind that you do need to wait until prices get above this resistance level and close for a couple of days. So with that being said, guys, we can do the same target math here as we did with XRP. What's the starting point of this most recent move? Of course, we're on the daily again. The starting point, I would say, is quite clearly somewhere around 24 cents. We have a resistance quite clearly somewhere around 54 cents. The difference between those two levels, guys, is around 30 cents. So all we have to do is take the difference, we add it to the resistance, and that gives us a target of 84 cents. And of course, from the current price, you'd be looking at something like a 75% to the upside, which I think compared to XRP, just to go back here and just to check, from the current price, you'd be looking at an upside of around 25%. So you have theoretically 3 times more upside on XLM than XRP. Again, this is in the short term. I'm not saying that XLM is going to flip XRP or anything like that. I'm just saying in percentage terms, in the short term, XLM looks like it has more room to move to the upside. And again, that's simply because XLM has been lagging XRP. XRP is the first mover. XLM is kind of following. And as you guys will see, it's a similar story for Hedera. But anyways, guys, just do keep in mind that, if XLM does get rejected from this resistance, it could fall back down to this support. I don't think it's going back down to the starting point. I do think that XLM is super resilient. And of course, that's because XLM is yet another, or Stellar rather, is another crypto project that's US based and is going to benefit a lot from the incoming Trump administration. So with that being said, guys, it's a super interesting chart. I do think XLM is going to be looking really good here in the coming weeks, but I do think that Hedera is looking even better. So this brings me to Hedera, guys. This is where things, again, I know I say we'll take every single crypto, but for me, it's really interesting because, what's really interesting about these crypto project, guys, is that when the crypto market starts rallying, and you will start to see like these crypto projects announcing like events, right? And it's really interesting to me that Hedera announced an event here on the 25th of Denver, and they say HederaCon, Hedera's first user conference since 2018. That's like what, like 7 years ago. So obviously this is a pretty big deal, and it looks like there's going to be a lot of big announcements and stuff coming out there. So I suspect that February 25th could potentially be the top for HBAR, and I'm not going to speculate too much on what the top for HBAR will be just yet. I think there's a lot of factors there, including the ETFs, which again, not according to me, but according to Bloomberg ETF analysts, HBAR is going to be getting an ETF before XRP, and in a way, this could be something again that I think is going to cause HBAR to kind of catch up in a big way. And again, I'm not saying it's going to flip XRP or anything like that, but when it comes to the cryptos that are in the same ISO 20022 narrative in the same niche, I do think that HBAR has the most potential at this stage, and it's one that a lot of people are sleeping on, to be honest, guys. And the same way, again, like I don't personally hold HBAR, but I do hold altcoins in Hedera's ecosystem. Again, like I was saying, same thing with XRP, and actually same thing for Stellar. I actually also have a couple from Stellar's ecosystem, and this is how I'm playing these cryptos personally. But I know a lot of you guys are holding the blue chips, right? Like the main ones. So this is why I'm doing this analysis of these cryptos here. And of course, for the altcoins, you can check out the Coin Bureau Club, which again I'll get to in a second. Anyways, guys, now moving on to HBAR, and this is where the proof is kind of in the pudding in terms of the upside. HBAR is looking super bullish, guys. The pattern looks almost identical to XRP and XLM, which again makes perfect sense considering that both fall into this ISO 20022 narrative. You can see that HBAR is it just looks amazing. But let's take things one step at a time here, guys. The starting point is around 15 cents of this most recent move. Of course, we're on the daily as always. The resistance, I would say, somewhere around 35 cents. You can make the case that it's closer to like 34. But again, guys, I'm not trying to split hairs here on these 1 or 2 cent differences. I just try and keep stick to round numbers, keep things conservative. Anyway, so we have a starting point 15, resistance of 35. Of course, that's a difference of 20. And again, this is all in cents. And the difference there is 20 cents. And we take the difference, we add it to the resistance, and we get a target of 55 cents, which from the current price, I believe the upside is roughly similar to XLM. And yes, it is. It's roughly 75% from the current price. But again, if you're trading this, guys, again, the difference between those of you who are holding and trading, those of you who are holding expect 75%. But if you're a trader, you're going to want to wait until it gets above this resistance level, in which case you would have an upside of around 55%. And of course, you can juice that up with a little bit of leverage. And do keep in mind that if there is a rejection from this resistance level, then HBAR could fall back down to this 25-cent support level. But you can see a lot of people have been buying that dip as soon as it hits that level. So I don't think it's going to be going below that and coming back down to the starting point. Again, just like Stellar, just like XRP, Hedera is a US-based crypto project, and I think it's going to stand to benefit the most along with XRP and Stellar. They're going to benefit the most from the incoming Trump administration. And yeah, this is one that I'm watching very closely. And I do think like objectively in the short term here, I think XLM and HBAR have roughly the same potential. But when it comes to the longer term potential, let's say in the next few months, I do think that HBAR is probably going to win out because of stuff like the ETF, because of, like other factors. I do think there's a lot of interesting projects building in Hedera's ecosystem. So with that being said, guys, we can turn over now to the Coin Bureau Club, which of course I'm going to be shilling at the end of every single video. That's where we do deep dives into promising small cap altcoins. We actually did an XRP poll not long ago looking into, I think it was Sologenic. We did a deep dive into Sologenic, which was super interesting. And again, the way that we pick these altcoins that we review is we run polls every single week, and we let our members vote on which altcoins they want us to cover. And you might wonder, okay, well, where are the altcoins coming from, like the ones that are in the poll? The answer is it comes from a combination of our research as well as the suggestions that are made from by our Coin Bureau Club members. It keeps things super interesting. Every single week, we're reviewing super interesting crypto projects there, guys. Everything from DeSci to, like DeFi and SocialFi and everything. It's super interesting. Anyway, we have a research feed where I'm sharing the kind of alpha I'm doing at the end of these videos, and other insights, lots of altcoin insights. We also have a team portfolio page where you can see the cryptos that we hold as well as the altcoins we're considering adding to our portfolios. We have an exclusive deals page that have bigger deals on like hardware wallets, crypto analytics platforms, stuff like that. We have a members Discord where you can chat with us and where I'm doing technical analysis on Bitcoin, Ethereum, and certain altcoins every single day. And of course, if you do have requests, can you do some quick TA on this altcoin? If I have the time, then I'll do it. It's not something that we kind of like include, in the membership. It's not something that we promise, but it's something that I do like to do from time to time when I have time. With that being said, guys, I want to bring you guys to some serious alpha here. So, as those of like many of you will know that today we're going to be getting a CPI inflation report, and some of you guys might know that yesterday we got a PCI inflation report, which is like for producers. It's like for the companies, let's say, like I know I'm like super simple, but like for the companies, it's like producer price index is like for the producers, obviously, and then consumer price index, which is like for the regular people, let's say. And this is the number that the Fed is watching very closely when it comes to their interest rate expectations. And of course, the assumption is that the CPI report for December, which is the one that's coming out today, the assumption is that it's going to be higher. It's going to show that inflation is going up and blah, blah, blah. But of course, we did see that the PCI fell yesterday. And what's really fascinating about that, and I know that there's like some nuance in terms of the data and stuff like that. But what's really interesting, guys, is that the PCI, so think about this, Trump tariffs are apparently coming in and a lot of people are apparently panicking. We've seen lots of reports of companies that are apparently stocking up on materials ahead of potential tariffs to like reduce the inflationary effect. And yet, despite all of these supposed accumulations of like inventories and stuff like that that took place in December, the PCI, like the inflation rate for companies, was still actually low, even though they were apparently accumulating like crazy, which is weird. Like it should have been higher, at least in my opinion. And so I actually think that there's a chance that the CPI could come in lower. And there's two very fundamental reasons for this. For those of you who don't know, oil plays a really big role in inflation, of course, because oil prices, like oil is used for energy, and energy goes into everything, right, guys? And what's really interesting is if we actually look at the oil price during December, it was actually the lowest level it had been since September. And some of you guys might remember that the inflation print, I think around that time, around the early fall, had also come in a little bit lower. And I do think it was partially because oil prices had been so low. And here you can see in December, guys, like the oil prices were actually super low for most of the month. Of course, there was a little bit of an uptick towards the end of the month, but if you were to take the average, oil price over this time frame, it's very low. And that tells me that there's a chance that, the prices of things in December was probably lower than what people are anticipating. And of course, I know that there's some of you in the comments that'll probably say, oh, but you're not factoring in that the thing that's keeping the CPI high is stuff like rent, actually, like services inflation. And that includes like stuff like rents. And as you guys can see, U.S. asking rents ended 2024 at the lowest level in nearly 3 years. Okay, so so this tells me that if rents fell also in December and oil prices fell in December, and if energy and rents are the kind of like the two biggest components that are causing the CPI to go up, and both of those things fell in December, then that tells me that there's actually a pretty good chance that we're going to get basically a downside surprise in inflation. That inflation is going to come in lower than what people are expecting, and then this is going to result in a market rally across the board. And not only that, but it's going to result in less Fed, or I guess more Fed cuts being priced in, because people will say, oh, look, like, inflation is actually coming down, so the Fed doesn't have to keep rates as high and doesn't have to keep hiking them, which I think I even heard or saw some headline today that people are speculating that the Fed could actually announce a rate hike at the end of this month. But my base case, based on the data that I just went through, guys, again, this is not my opinion, this is just the data. Oil prices were low, rents came in at the lowest level in 3 years in December, okay? This is a fact, and most of the inflation, most of the CPI is coming from these rents, and also from energy. So both of those things are down, which tells me that we should see inflation go down, and that would translate to interest rates going down. And this is where things get very fascinating, guys. And I apologize if I'm rambling here. I know some of you say, "Oh, you don't have to apologize," but I know that like those of you in the comments who are saying you don't have to apologize, you're like my super fans. I think like most people are somewhere in the middle. It's like, okay, man, just get on with it, and maybe speak a little bit slower. This is as slow as it's going to get. I'm sorry, guys. It's just the way that I talk. Anyways, this is where things get very interesting, guys. What we're looking at here is the 2-year yield, or I guess the yield on the 2-year government bond. And for all intents and purposes, guys, you can think of this as basically being a reflection of short-term interest rates. Basically, when the Federal Reserve adjusts interest rates, what they're adjusting is the interest rate that banks will charge each other to lend overnight. So yeah, for those of you who don't know, guys, basically when the Federal Reserve adjusts interest rates, what they're adjusting is the interest rate that banks will charge each other to lend overnight. And then this overnight interest rate has an impact on like shorter term interest rates, such as the 2-year interest rate, which is determined by the yield on the 2-year government bond. Again, I'm not going to get into too many details there, guys. I'm not going to butcher it. But the point being is that what you're looking at here is basically a reflection of short term interest rates. And this is on the monthly. Okay, so I should make that clear. And as you can see, I've drawn this trend line here. And I actually drew this trend line a while back, and members of the Coin Bureau Club will know that I did a very lengthy post kind of arguing why this crypto bull market could be the last of its kind. I think it's going to be the biggest, but I think it's going to be the last of its kind for the foreseeable future, for the simple reason that I think what's going to happen is we're going to see interest rates fall. And we can actually see, if we zoom in a little bit here, guys, you can see you're seeing maybe like a head and shoulders or a double top or some kind of pattern here, where you can actually make the case that in the next couple months here, we're going to see the 2-year yield basically completely collapse and fall all the way to 2.5%, which would foreshadow which would foreshadow short-term interest rates falling substantially lower than what people are pricing in now. If those of you who are big into macro, I would strongly suggest following a guy named Joseph Wang. He used to trade government debt, like he used to trade this stuff at the Federal Reserve. He used to work at the Federal Reserve trading government debt, and he actually thinks that yes, that interest rates are going to fall substantially more than what people are anticipating in 2025. And I'm 100% in agreement for reasons. Again, I won't get too much into the macro here. You can refer to his video for more info there. Specifically, it's the one about his 2025 predictions. But anyways, guys, what I think is going to happen here is we're going to see long-term interest rates fall, and I think they're going to fall all the way back to around 2.5%. And I think that when they start falling like that, everyone's going to assume like, oh yeah, like this higher for longer. Oh, it was all a meme. It's never going to happen. We're going back down to 0% interest rates, and it's going to be up only forever, right? But what I think is going to happen is it's going to get to this level. It's going to get to 2.5%. Then we're going to start to see inflation come back in a big way. And then interest rates are going to have to start rising again, and everyone's going to realize, oh no, we actually are in a higher interest rate environment, and this is going to result in a massive repricing in all assets that are sensitive to interest rates. That includes housing, that includes tech stocks, that includes stocks in general, that includes crypto, especially. The main reason why crypto is so speculative is because there was easy money, so there's been lots of speculation. And I think that in the next crypto bull market, whenever it happens, I think the cryptos that will perform the best will be the ones that gained the most adoption in this cycle. From doing research on Solana, on Sui, on Ethereum, on these larger cryptos, it's very clear to me that all these crypto projects are aware that this is the time, especially with Trump coming in and all these regulations going away. Same thing goes for Ripple, actually, or for XRP. Like when I was doing research into XRP, every single one of these crypto projects has the same thing in mind. The regulations are going to go away, and we're going to have basically one shot to attract as many users as we possibly can. And I think that this is what we're going to see in the coming months. And this is part of why I think the crypto bull market is going to be so big, because you're going to see, guys, a scramble unlike any other to gather it, to get money, to get users, to get everything. Things are going to be popping off left and right. People are going to do everything under the sun, whether it's launching tokens or doing whatever. I think a big thing that, and again, I'm rambling here, but this is actually something interesting worth considering. I think we're going to see a lot of crypto wallets launching tokens because that's how they're going to try and retain the users, right? They're going to say, oh, come and use our wallet, and in a month or 1 or 2 months, we're going to airdrop a token, right? And this is how you're going to have people moving from into Ethereum's ecosystem with MetaMask, into Solana's ecosystem with Phantom. I'm sure that I think in XRP or in XRP's ecosystem, it's Xamen or Xamen or however you pronounce it. I think that wallet is also probably going to be dropping a token as a means of attracting users, especially after the EVM sidechain launches for XRP. And I think we're going to see the same thing for like this Algorand wallets and everything. It's going to be crazy, guys. I think it's going to be the biggest crypto bull market, and it's going to be super fueled by the elimination of all these regulatory restrictions. It's going to be fueled by the speculation that interest rates are going back down to zero. And then the moment that starts to reverse, and the moment that the bubble starts to pop, and people realize, wait, we actually might need some more crypto regulations. Maybe we did too much of cutting away the regulations. I think that's when things are going to turn over, and when the crypto bear market is going to start. And I do think that's going to start sometime over the summer. Anyways, guys, if you did make it this far, I do hope you found that information interesting. I'm sure if you listened this far, you probably did. It's really interesting, guys. I do think in a way, if you're not able to like sit through and listen through this whole thing, then in a sense, do you really deserve the alpha at the end? Anyway, sorry, it's maybe a little bit of a cocky comment, but I do think, as they say, early bird gets the worm. If you try hard, you'll get what you want. But you have to follow through, right? You have to listen every video, every analysis. Even for me, guys, when I'm listening to like crypto analysis or macro analysis, and I'm just like, God, like this is just so boring. I don't like it. I don't like this guy who's rambling. I always listen to the very end, because you never know. There's that one piece of information that could make or break your portfolio, that could completely change your future. And I'm not saying that that this is something that I just revealed here, but I do think that in retrospect, I do think it's going to end up being more accurate than people think, especially now that the consensus is that rates are going to be higher for longer and blah, blah, blah. I'm a natural contrarian, and I do think that this is part of why I've been somewhat successful in crypto. And I know a lot of people are asking, oh, like, okay, then show us your portfolio. Unfortunately, I did not keep track of my portfolio in the last cycle, but I'm doing it this cycle. I'm tracking everything diligently, so that when all is said and done, I can point and I can say, yep, maybe I was wrong in the end and everything went bad. But I think that in the end, I'll say, yep, I was right on this and that, and maybe I was wrong on some things, and I'll be able to prove with a track record and show, yep, this is, I actually do know my stuff somewhat. I can always learn more. I'm not saying I know the most, but man, relative to the average analyst you'll find here on YouTube, I'd say I'm a little bit above average, let's say. Anyways, guys, if you did make it this far, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, ping that notification bell, and I'll see you in the next one.